Hi everybody, welcome to this quick 9 playthrough for the date that is now displayed on the screen. Remember to check the tournament times so that you have time to play all of your holes. Please hit thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Timestamps for all the holes in the video description down below. Bear in mind these are general wind conditions you will need to tweak according to the directions you face in the quick 9. And remember, some of these are old replays, so feature the old ball attribute levels. Good luck, here we go. On this par 4, we're going to play down the right hand side and go for a max backspin thorn approach. This is NMT with a power 6 ball, and I'm going with 5.8 topspin only. Please note though, in headwind angles this shot will not work because I'm relying on the tailwind push. You can see my target loads there aiming in the rough, but having a bit of tailwind is actually going to mean that my first bounce is between the rough and the bunker nicely on the fairway. So just bear that one in mind. Obviously if you've got level crosswind, you might need to use a few clicks of overpower. Max plus 10, leaving it where it is. I could actually go with a couple of clicks of overpower here just to make sure I get over there. It's not going to risk the bunker. Obviously, more direct tailwind, you wouldn't need to go with any overpower at all. But we bounce just before the halfway point, rolling down the fairway and going to be very nicely on the approach here, set up for our thorn. I'm trying to get a measure of my club distance here. As a general rule, I would play this one true club distance, but if you get that wind angle, you could see a back fringe check of +5. You could build an adjustment from that if you have something similar. But as an example of how best to approach this hole, I am going to say the max backspin approach is the best in my opinion because the fairway before the green is very, very bumpy. So max backspin, one right spin. If you've got wind going the other way, I would go with one left spin instead and set up to the right of the flag. Ball guide just going to the left hand side of the cup here, might need a tweak or two, as again this is only a general approach, but as an example here, because of the high second bounce and also the downhill nature of this approach in general, I'm going to play this one true club distance with 50% elevation. It may need a tweak in other wind angles. I'd probably be tempted to go up to 60 in level crosswind because that of course is going to push the ball even more to the side. But not a bad look at this one here. We're bouncing on the green nicely with our perfect, just missing on this occasion slightly right edge of the cup. We're going to make an NMT drive, so load the hole with your APOC and your Kingmaker, pack the sniper, and it's an NMT setup. We are going here with 5.5 topspin, and then we're going to adjust max plus 10, as simple as that. Max plus 10 power 3. So NMT, nice and simple. Once you've adjusted, and only with APOC 4, you will need to push up, and that amount is 1.7 rings, and that's to make up with the fact that you've got 6 yards less power than APOC 5 and above. So if you've got APOC 4, 1.7 ring push up after you've adjusted. That said, centre the ball, hit perfect, and then this is going to track very nicely down the fairway. And then we're setting up a second bounce rough bump with a sniper. Now we've got your turn written on the notepad. We need to look at our plus yards exactly when it's our shot, and you'll see the game. It will say your turn, then we look at the plus yards. So there you can see +5 displayed before we move the target. So that's the reference we need for our slider. Then I add my spin, and I'm going with 1.5 topspin, and it's a kind of heavy 1.5. So if you're looking at between 1.4 and 1.6 visually, settle on the 1.6 side rather than the other one. Ball guide going to the hole, second bounce in the rough there, and then for a +5 your turn check. We're playing this 55% slider, 15 elevation. That would equate to +7 with sniper 9 because you've got 2 yards less power. So 55 on the slider, 15 on the elevation, and it's time to make our adjustment here, which we are going to do now, and it's going to be 2 pulls over the bullseye, so try and make your pulls as consistent as possible. And there we go. Time to take our shot, and again of course you've got the battle trying to hit perfect with the wood club in master. Easier said than done. Thankfully I managed to get one away here. Perfect ball, and this one in fact drops very nicely for an albatross. First bounce the fairway, second bounce the rough, rolling on the green and falling for the albatross on this par 5. A little tweak needed here. Before spin, we're going to set up with the red ring touching the rough and the ball guide through the hole. And then I add my spin, and in the end I settle on 1.2 backspin and 1.1 left spin. And the 1.2 backspin, it's just at the first point where the second bounce clips the rough. So just vary it a click. If you go one click less than that, you'll see a longer ball guide. You want to be the one before that, where that ball guide gets clipped away. Rewind the video and you'll see the reference that I'm referring to. Mid plus 30, power 3 settings, using sniper 10 numbers, and once again, 2 pulls over the bullseye. Now this will need a little bit of a tweak here. I had to go a few other places doing free-to-play setups, but this was the most consistent. Obviously, if you get more headwind, you might need a click of overpower to make sure you clear the rough, and it is going to be tough to drop this one, but there is a chance, I will believe, with a tweak. As you can see, bouncing, clearing the rough just about, and just missing on the left edge, but the speed is good there on this par 3. Right, time to send it to green. Lovely wind angle here, stretch out, P5, max extension, aim between those 2 bunkers there. Look at the blue arrows, get your finger right in the middle of those bunkers. Then we add our spin, 1.5 backspin, 2 bars of left spin. Time to adjust max plus 5, power 5 settings. Now the jetty and the boat or whatever can get in the way in certain wind angles, so try and zoom in and be accurate if you can. Making our adjustment here, and we're doing 2 pulls over the bullseye. And then we've got to do a push-up. I'm not looking at the rings because you can't see them. I'm instead looking at the plus yards, and I'm going back up to the top of plus 14. APOC 4, you will go to the top of plus 20. Then it's time to take our shot, full overpower with a slowish needle, outer wall curl to the left. Perfect ball away, this will bounce very nicely in the rough and roll out to the green or the fringe. Be wary of a great left here though, don't hit great left. But there you've got a simple wedge for your eagle, but please put some tweaks in as well. Please do join us over on Facebook. We have an ever-growing community of players there, over 16,000 members. Head over to Facebook, search for BK Golf Clash and submit your member request there. Free to join, there are free guides posted, lots of shot sharing and discussion points. You can chat and interact with me as well, and loads more over on Facebook. So head over there and search for BK Golf Clash. If the wind angle allows on this par 5, we can drive ourselves over to the left and attack for Albatross. We're going here with APOC 5 and above, with APOC 5 and 6 blue ring touching the rough on the left at P6 max rest, 5.8 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the left. Our adjustment here is going to be maximum distance with 10% elevation. Now I'm going to pack the Cataclysm here. You will need to do the same. Going to give you a little tweak though if you manage to get this wind angle low. Here, after our adjustment, it's time to take our shot. We're going with 0.8 ball curl to the left. Here you can see used just before circle drop overpower. I would recommend you go with circle drop, maybe even a click more than that, just to try and get a couple more yards distance out of this drive, and you'll see why in a moment. There's plenty of room if we could push that a little bit further. Alternatively, if you've got more top spin, you could use that. Drive distance of around 395. Second shot, adding spin first. Now, it'll be around 1 backspin, maybe 1.2 backspin. And here you can see I'm almost at max distance with my Cataclysm. So if you can push that drive, get a few more yards out of it, it will just safeguard. So you're definitely going to reach with your Cataclysm or your big dog. With level 6 Cat, I don't have a full ball guide, so I offset this one to the right and short. However, didn't need to do that, should have aimed at the pin. Inner ring touching the rough, so that first bounce is centre in the rough. Adjustment I go with here is maximum distance with 5% elevation. It's not bad for a first look, but it's just really designed to show you the way that you might want to approach a free-to-play Albatross on this hole. Just going to miss a little bit short and to the right-hand side on this occasion, but definitely a good chance if you've got a good wind angle. Right, we're going to play with the rock here. We're going with 3 bars of backspin, and then we're going to find our position with the bullseye over the final pixel of rough before you get the long bounce from the fairway, and you want a small gap between the right edge of the ball guide and the left edge of the hole. This is a tricky one and will need wind angle tweaks, so please practice this one. 1-to-1 plus 0.3. So here my wind is 11.4. I'm going to adjust 11.7 rings, and we're making 2 pulls over the bullseye. Like I said, this does need wind angle tweaks. If you are not adjusting or setting up accurately, you risk staying in the rough or missing the rough. It is one of those touchy shots. Finally, we need to go with circle break underpower. If you forget that, you are going to end up in the sand. There's no two ways about it. If you don't fancy it, of course, you can play standard bounce over as you would in tour play. But if you've got this one right and dialed in, you've got a good chance for a hole-in-one with a Kingmaker. Now, although you can support us financially on Patreon, you can also join as a free member. If you do that, you will get bonus master level text guide content from the Coalition. They produce text guides for free every tournament, free to play balls, and we send those out when they do so. And they very kindly agreed to let me share their archives of all the courses used in this season of Quick Nines for you all to use, because there may be some wind angles that you get as part of the Quick Nines that they have in their archive. So you will receive those if you join us as a free member on our Patreon. We have an eagle to show you on this par 4. We're setting up at plus 0 yards with APOC 5 and above. APOC 5 and 6 is going to have the blue ring touching the rough on the left hand side. We're going with 5.5 top spin and 3 bars of side spin to the left. A nice wind angle here allows us to swing the ball and using that tailwind push as well as the right to left on the wind angle to get us nicely on the fairway. But if you've got wind going the other way, left to right, you could still play this shot. You might just need to go with a bit more curl and set up 1 ring closer to the rough. We're going with, you can see here, about 2 balls of curl to the left, something like that. Look at the tee, draw a line down and see where it intersects the circle. Max plus 10 was the adjust, and we're going with just before circle drop overpower, finding the middle of the fairway nicely here. Drive distance is going to be around 385 yards. Now, even with a little bit of backspin on here, you can see that ball guide going up the green and back down towards the pin. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to utilise the slope on the green. A little bit of right spin so that I can aim with the yellow ring touching the beginning of the fringe where it meets the fairway. Obviously, if you have a more tailwind, you're going to need a bit more backspin, and more headwind, obviously you're going to need less backspin to compensate. We are just about okay with our adjustment here. I play this one mid-distance with 30% elevation. Thankfully, it's not taking us into the bunker. If it does that, you will need to add a few clicks of overpower to compensate. But we're bouncing very nicely. You've got some wiggle room here, backtracking and just sneaking that one in for the eagle. This is a very difficult par 3 and you will need to vary the spins a lot depending on the wind angle you have. But if you get a similar one to this one, then this is something you can work with and of course tweak from. Blue ring touching the bunker at the top of plus 4 with the sniper level 10. Then I'm adding 2.5 bars of backspin and I'm going to add 1.5 right spin. Now it looks like we're going to shoot off the right hand side of the green, but because this is massively downhill, the wind will push us towards the hole, and actually on this occasion we got it in for a hole-in-one. A lot of adjustment needed here. This is mid-distance with 30% elevation, power 6 numbers. So it is going to be 2 pull adjustments here. And you'll see it is a fair amount of rings, so make sure you leave enough time. Then once we've done that, we centre the ball and hit perfect. You can see there from that camera view how downhill this hole plays. And it is one that you're going to need to take a token on to get close. And if you get this one in, it is a big bonus indeed. If you are enjoying the free content here on the channel and want to help out and keep everything free, then please consider making a small donation. All donations are gratefully received and help me out here on the channel, as all of the content here is produced for free in my own spare time. You can do that in one of 3 ways. You can hit the thanks button here on YouTube, you can make a PayPal donation via the link in the description down below, or you can also join us over on Patreon. Details at the end of the video. On this par 5, we're going to play with APOC and the sniper with a Kingmaker. We're going blue ring touching the rough on the right at the top of plus 10 with APOC 5 and 6. Then we're going to add 3 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the right. Apoc 4, you would be at P6 max rest and have 30% of the blue ring overlapping the rough. If you have more headwind angles, then you would set up further back, less plus yards on the club, and then of course go with more topspin, so you have room to adjust. In dramatic headwind angle, then a luminary is going to be the way forward. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, then we go with one ball of right curl just before circle drop over power. Hitting perfect, and this is going to bounce cleanly away from the rough and the bunker, not threatening that at all. And the top spin, curl and right spin takes us down to the fairway, and we're setting up nicely for an attempt with our sniper. Drive distance around 385. This is a no spin approach, so plenty of time to get your landing position sorted and your pull angle nice and straight with an accurate adjust. So no spin, and we're setting up with the ball guide approximately 4 green squares to 5 green squares short of the hole. Now if you have level crosswind, I would have the tip of the ball guide about 2 green squares short, because this green does run a little bit, and the headwind, obviously you need that ball guide going at least to the pin. And then of course in headwind you might want to play with the cataclysm. True club distance, 5% elevation here. The unfortunate thing I did was just not aiming quite right at the pin. I needed to shift a little bit to the left, but the general setup and approach is good here, just having a very narrow miss. So centre the ball, hitting perfect here. The tailwind is going to push us the rest of the way, and we're bouncing comfortably on the fairway, hopping over the rough, and you'll see there is quite a bit of speed on the ball, which is why we leave the ball guide short, just missing on the right hand side. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.